Hello everyone and welcome to the NARSA weekly update for week commencing Monday the 1st of November 2021. It's Gary here and this is not the pod I was hoping to be recording tonight or ever really, if I'm being dead honest, after last week's way too early passing of the legend that was Walter Smith OBE. For me, the numbness of Walter's passing hasn't quite subsided yet, but as I anyway, got over the initial shock of the news, the thunderbolt of sadness and grief is slowly but surely being replaced by a sense of gratefulness at having been alive at the same time as Walter and getting to see and enjoy the fruits of his very successful career for our club and country. And if you were lucky enough, like I was, also to get the opportunity to spend some time with him, some one-on-one time as well. So one of my earlier thoughts on Tuesday morning, and I was saying to a few people, it's kind of interesting how grief grips you when it does. And one of my earlier thoughts when I woke up to the news and a number of messages from all over the world about what was happening was that I keep saying to my son Leo how lucky we are to be experiencing various things in our lifetime, and experiencing the global icon that is Steven Gerrard as the manager of Glasgow Rangers Football Club, getting to see Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo at their peaks, LeBron James in basketball, Lewis Hamilton in Formula One, those sorts of icons, and getting to witness that level of greatness is a privilege, because you're literally right in the middle of history being made, and kind of one of a kind history at that. And that's how I truly feel about Walter, and how fortunate we as a Rangers family were to have had him in our lives when we did, both from a sporting success and from a literal stature of the man perspective. So at the time of recording, we now know that the family will be holding a very private funeral ceremony this coming Wednesday, with a larger public memorial service being planned for Friday the 19th of November. The memorial service is also going to be private in a sense, as attendance is invite only, but the difference this time is that it will be broadcast by RTV, similar to what we were able to view when it was Fernando Rixon's service previously as well. So I can only imagine what numbers RTV will hit that day, with folks from all over the world looking to pay their last respects to the great man. So more details on timing of that will be forthcoming when we know more, but in all likelihood you'll learn about it before I do. We'll find out about it at the same time, I'm sure. And this weekend, or that particular weekend, is the League Cup semi-final at Hampden on the Sunday, so you don't need to worry about any spillover into game day on the Saturday if you decide to toast Walter's life and legacy with a few alcoholic sensations, which I most likely will do myself. So for this week's podcast, we're going to do it just a wee bit differently than normal and spend the majority of time on Walter. I'll go through very quickly the game segment and convention update, then we'll read out some of the postings put online on our Book of Condolence from the NARSA website that we created last week. I won't read them all out, and would encourage you to go take a peek, and if you haven't already, pop a wee sentiment in there. Once we finalise it, once we disable the opportunity to put anything in, I will ensure personally that it gets to the Smith family for them to sift through when the time is right for them, and refer back to it if and when they so choose as they go forward and try and reconstruct their lives after Walter was taken away from them. I don't mind admitting that when we agreed that this is what we were going to do from a NARSA gesture perspective, and we got to work on it, it made me personally feel a wee bit better, as it felt that we were doing something constructive to help ease the pain a wee bit of the shock of his passing. And I need to give a wee bit of a warning right now that I haven't personally visited the page yet, as I just couldn't bring myself to do that until tonight. So I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go. We'll see how we can get through it. So, just in case it goes a wee bit awry, like now, I'll apologise in advance. I would also like to host a show dedicated to Walter and our memories of the great man at some point down the line. I know other podcast platforms are doing the same, but we had our own special history with Walter through his regular visits to our NARSA conventions over the years, and I'd like to walk and talk that through with some of the fellow NARSA bears when we can get that organised. Now that we have a target of November 19th for his memorial service, we can probably work from that date and see if we can get it organised. I just did want to start by reading what the chairman put on the website when we learned of Walter's passing last week. On behalf of the Rangers Board of Directors, staff and players, I convey my deep condolences to the Smith family. Walter leaves behind a wife, children and grandchildren, all of whom are in our thoughts and prayers at this difficult time. It is almost impossible to encapsulate what Walter meant to every one of us at Rangers. He embodied everything that a Ranger should be. His character and leadership was second to none and will live long in the memory of everyone he worked with during his 2 terms as first team manager. I spoke with Walter as recently as last weekend. Even when he was battling illness, he was still able to provide advice and support. For that, I am personally grateful. I know that he continued also to maintain dialogue with senior members of staff, including our manager Stephen Gerrard. Walter will be sorely missed by all of us at Rangers, winning 10 top-flight titles as manager, 5 Scottish Cups and 6 League Cups, as well as leading his club to the UEFA Cup final in 2008. He will be remembered by the footballing community across the world. His spells as Scotland manager, as well as managing in the English Premier League, underlined his credentials as one of the great modern-day football managers. However, for Rangers supporters, he was much more than just a football manager. Walter was a friend to many, a leader, an ambassador, and most of all, a legend. So, I need to take a wee break from that one. So, on to the abbreviated games segment for last week. We had 2 difficult games in the week, and if ever there was a need to win the first one, it was most certainly on Wednesday at home to Aberdeen, and for whatever reason the team just couldn't do it with an absolutely awful performance in the game that saw us lose 2 comedic goals in the first, 15 or 16 minutes and give ourselves the proverbial mountain to climb to get back into the game. And the whole team performance, I thought, was absolute garbage on a night when the team really, really needed to give us something to shout about, something to get behind, and something that Walter would have been proud of, and they didn't. And I was a little bit disgusted by it in the moment. I have to say, of all nights, to turn in a performance like that was borderline offensive for me. But however, when the dust settled and I thought about it a little bit more practically, when the emotion had subsided, we managed to come from 2 behind, when very obviously not at our best against a team that we do normally get a hard-fought game from. So it was just pretty gutting that the team couldn't go out and put them to the sword for Walter in that one. So a lot more emotion around it. But as I was saying on the NARSA WhatsApp list, they get a pass, a mild pass for that one, as long as things turn around on Sunday against Motherwell. And that was our second game of the week, and it was absolutely exceptional. A 6-1 victory away to Motherwell, where we did our now regular comedy routine in defence to give them the opening goal, then stormed back with a 55-esque display that was just absolutely brilliant. Our best domestic performance of the season thus far by a mile, and it was tremendous to show what happens when the entire team is in sync, working hard on and off the ball, and the chances are flowing and the goals are flowing. Tav was back to his best. I was very critical of him over the last couple of weeks, and back to his best. I thought a break would have been better for him to give him a chance just to convalesce on the bench and see the game from the sidelines, but they decided he could play through it, and boy oh boy did he ever. Stephen Davis was just sensational. What a gift he is for every single Rangers fan out there, and it was great to see Fashion Sakala get his first hat-trick for us with 3 terrific goals. I thought almost at one point we were debating yesterday whether it was a perfect hat-trick, but it wasn't. It was, I think, 2 goals with his right foot and 1 with his head, of course, and I have to admit, I was starting to have my doubts about him, as all he was fast. There was nothing else, with limited, well, not nothing else, I'm being very harsh now, but with limited end product. But he proved me wrong on Sunday, and I was absolutely delighted for him. He's a fan's favourite already, you can tell that, and if he can just back that up with performances like he did on Sunday, we have an absolute diamond there. A brilliant performance, and one that I hope that we'll look back on and say it was a turning point of the season for us. You get nothing in this game, you get nothing in this world if you don't work your socks off for it, and we did that with aplomb yesterday. So congratulations and thanks for giving us our Rangers back, folks, and that's us now 4 points clear at the top of the Premiership table, with a healthy goal difference there as well, and hopefully, as I say, this is us kicking on to more consistency and just starting to really churn out the results. This week we have 2 games, with the first one being our away match at Brøndby this coming Thursday, where we will be looking to emulate the 2-0 victory we landed on them the last time we played them last week, or I guess the week before last week. And that one was a must-win game, as you'll remember, and I suspect that this one is too, if we're to have a realistic chance of getting to second place in the group. We wouldn't be out of it completely with a draw, but it would make things very, very difficult for us, I'm sure. And from what we've seen in the last game, other than some crazy self-inflicted moments at the beginning of the second half, we were much better than them all over the pitch. So more of the same, and I think we'll be in good shape after this one concludes. The kickoff for this one is 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 5:45 UK time kickoff, but just note that the UK clocks went back on Sunday yesterday, and ours in North America don't go back until this Sunday, so we're 1 hour less, or 1 hour closer to the UK than we are typically for the majority of the year. So just take note of that so you don't make any mistakes. We usually don't make mistakes as the week progresses, but sometimes people do for the game on the Sunday, if that happens to be the case. So I hope nobody missed too much of the Motherwell stuff yesterday. Onto RTV quickly. I'm noticing that we are having some challenges with Bears trying to access the game on demand after the final whistle, after the game is concluded. I have talked about this before on some previous pods, primarily the fact that the timing of the availability of the match after full time is decidedly longer. Worse, I guess you could look at it like that, than it ever has been before. I know that they're working on this, and it is a little bit quicker now than it was before, but it's just a bit too clunky for my liking. I know that Alan McWatt, our broadcast RTV director, is aware of it and on it, and he will be working with RTV to make sure that we can manage our club and members' expectations better going forward, with some committed timelines and accessing process steps as well. So stay tuned for that one. We'll try and get that this week if we can. I know that David Melvin is off for the week, but we do have a contact there who was very responsive for some of the challenges we were having yesterday, so I think Lubo will be able to help us out and get to that. From a shout-out perspective, just the 2 this week. Toronto number 1 have their long-awaited 2 for the show this coming Saturday, November the 6th, and it's $15 per person if you are thinking about attending. If you need any further information, please reach out to me or contact Norma Maxwell directly, and she will be able to help you out. And as promised last week, for all Calgary and area Bears to come and join us at our British New Year party on Friday, December the 31st at the Palomino Smokehouse in downtown Calgary. It's going to be a great time to get together and toast out 2021 and toast in all the great things that are going to come our way in 2022. As I mentioned, I'll mention that every week between now and then, so stay tuned. That's when you'll be pressing the wee fast forward 15 seconds part each week, I guess. That's what I would do if it was me. Convention wise, our convention update this week, we are just about ready to announce the sales of there's 2 excursions. There's going to be one, I believe, on the Wednesday and one on the Friday that the Las Vegas Loyal are putting on, and we're also very close with the Absent Friends football match and the Davy Cooper Memorial Golf Tournament as well. I'm not 100% sure if the football and the golf will be announced this week, but we're very, very close on all fronts to get these out there and get them on sale so that you know what your week itinerary looks like. And we'll definitely 100% we'll be announcing the excursions later in the week. They're ready to go, but we will not do anything before Walter's funeral on Wednesday. So we'll get them out hopefully before kick-off on Thursday. And for the rest, we'll see. But very, very close now, which is terrific news and good to kind of get a wee bit of a buzz back around some of the planning we're doing. On the travel front, we are there now, and we'll definitely be publishing the contact details this week again. We'll probably wait until after the funeral on Wednesday, just out of respect. And we have a dedicated site that you'll be able to access from the NARSA site, and there are special complimentary gifts for anyone that is booking their Vegas trips through the Holiday and Flight Centre for NARSA 2022. And I believe it's a nighttime helicopter ride up the strip, so that's pretty impressive. It took a while, but we got there. I've had numerous chats with Rosie over at the Holiday and Flight Centre, and I know just how much work she's put in to establishing this relationship, to giving us what we need, and to making it happen. So I'm really delighted that it's all come to fruition for both parties, and we can see how and where it goes from here. There's also a link on that site that you'll get to see and you'll get ability to put an expression of interest in travelling from the UK to Toronto for 2023 as well. So look out for that one too. So keep an eye on our regular communications channels over the coming days, likely Thursday, to get ourselves going on this once and for all. So back to our Rangers community tributes to Walter Smith, OBE, from all across the globe, literally all across the globe. I won't be reading all of the tributes out that are on our site, and please don't be offended if I don't get to yours, but just know, as I mentioned earlier, for a fact that they will absolutely get into the Smith family hands soon, which was the main gesture that we wanted from this exercise in the beginning. We'll use some of them as well, of course, if we get that other show that I mentioned up and running as well. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go through this here. So the first one I'm going to read out is from Ian Dalrymple from Toronto Midtown Rangers Supporters Club. How is it that someone who you have never met can have such a personal impact on you? Many in professional sport achieve a level of professional greatness. Few do it with such grace and class. Thanks for leading by example, Walter, and showing us just how we all should strive to conduct ourselves personally and professionally. So sad to see you go so soon. Wonderful. Next one from Ange McLennan, who's the NARSA secretary. Deepest condolences to the Smith family with your loss of a great man, a father and a grandfather. To the Rangers family, we have lost our gaffer, a legend, a gentleman. It is with a heavy heart we would like to say rest easy, sir, and thank you for the memories. R.I.P. Walter Smith. My very own sister, Debbie Carey, from the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary. I was not one of the fortunate ones that got to meet Walter. However, he made my dad's 80th birthday. He took time, which is one of the most precious gifts you can give anyone, and called my dad. They blethered on the phone for about 15 or 20 minutes as if they were old pals. From reading all the tributes, seems like this is how Walter rolled. He even offered to be a travelling companion for my dad to ensure he made it to the NARSA convention, which unfortunately didn't happen due to the restrictions. That is true, actually. My best Rangers memories are all down to Walter, and I will be forever thankful to him for those. Rest easy, Walter, and keep an eye over all at Ibrox. The next one is from friend of NARSA, MC at Windsor 2019 and footballing legend Andy Gray. Met Walter when we were together at Dundee United in 1973. We played together for 2 years. Knew him for nearly 50 years, and a finer man you could not meet. A true Ranger in every sense. He loved the club and everything it stands for, but he was more than that. A top man whose company was always fun and engaging. I, like everyone who met him, will miss him hugely. R.I.P. Walter. Pat Downs from Toronto #1 Rangers Supporters Club. Having met Walter at various conventions over the years, he always treated his fans with respect and listened to their stories, even though I'm sure he had heard the same story many times over. He was patient and always the gentleman. Condolences to the family. Craig Donnell from the RSC Western Australia. Deepest condolences to the family. I was very fortunate to meet the great man on a few occasions, and the memories he brought to us all will never be forgotten. I've lost count of how many fans have been quoted saying it was like losing a family member, but it really was. His character brought a smile to many faces, and the legacy he's left behind will live with us for the rest of our lives. You will always be remembered in my eyes as Mr. Rangers. God bless Walter. R.I.P. Thanks for the memories. Willie Smith from Niagara True Blues. So sorry to hear the passing of Walter, a true gentleman. I met Walter on a few occasions at our conventions here in North America, and one particular was in Orlando, Florida. I spoke to him briefly, and jokingly I said, "Do you have any old shirts, as we have the same initials, W. Smith?" He said, "Give me your name and address and I will get Jimmy to forward some to you." I said I was only kidding. I am over here to see if you could sign a couple of shirts for these guys over there from Renfrewshire, as it was for charity for fundraising for the Erskine Hospital. He walked over to the supporters and signed them for the good cause and spoke to the lads requesting his signature. Sir Walter, you will be sorely missed by all. R.I.P. sir. Alec Black from Winnipeg, Rangers Supporters Club. It was with utter sadness to hear of the gaffer passing away. Many heroes have trod the marble staircase, but very few leave the legacy that Mr. Smith has left. Deepest condolences to Mrs. Smith and the rest of the family. All of the quotes that are connected to our club, simply the best is surely, of all the quotes that are connected to our club, simply the best is surely befitting the gaffer. R.I.P. Gone but not forgotten. Jim Taylor from Orlando, Rangers Supporters Club. Deepest condolences to Walter's family. A true gentleman and a legend to be remembered forever. It was a great honour to have Walter present at the 2011 NARSA convention in Orlando. What he achieved will never be forgotten. Thanks for all the memories and the joys that you brought to everyone in the Rangers family. Rest in peace, Walter. Alec Grant from the Big Apple Bears, Rangers Supporters Club in New York City. I had a table at the Rangers charity night in Glasgow Hilton, and as always my mother, who was 73, attended. She was in a wheelchair at our table and Walter was surrounded by security to let him enjoy his dinner. I asked if he could come and say hello after, as she was a massive Rangers fan and a Walter fan. After the meal he came and sat with her for at least 15 minutes, talked away to her. It made her night, her year, and many to come. He had a wonderful way of talking that was engaging and funny. She said it was just like talking to an ordinary man, and that was what was great about him. He never forgot where he came from or that the fans mattered. A true gentleman, fantastic leader, and all-time Rangers great. I am sure they will both be watching down on the team today. Craig Morton from Rockingham Loyal Rangers Supporters Club. I hope Walter knew how much joy he gave the support, and for such a long spell too. Memories he gave us all can never be taken away. I met him briefly at the Walk with Walter charity event in the stadium in 2011, and will cherish that memory. I, like many of others, will go to bed with a very heavy heart tonight. Thank you for the memories, Walter. Beth and Billy Reid from Bayou City Loyal. We got married at the 2010 NARSA convention in Las Vegas. Elvis doing the honours in the presence of a few friends and family attending the convention. On our way back to the hotel for our wedding breakfast, we ambled upon the Rangers official party. Mr. Smith, Martin Bain, Kenny McDowell and Jim Stewart. They were kind enough to pose for pictures with us newlyweds, and the new bride was delighted to stand alongside Mr. Smith while the groom was elbowed to one side. He was a very approachable man who had time for anyone. Happy memories. He will be very much missed. Derek Warrington from Melbourne City Loyal. Sir Walter, you have given Rangers fans all over the world great memories that will never fade. You will always be in our hearts. Our thoughts are with your wife, children and grandchildren at this terrible time. Gone but not forgotten. from everyone. Melbourne City loyal. Rest easy, sir. I'm going to try and keep going here. Duncan Key from the Rockingham Rangers Supporters Club again, which I now learn is in Perth, Western Australia. First and foremost, Walter was an absolute gentleman, both on and off the park. I was lucky enough to meet him at a golf tournament. And the amount of times Walter was asked for an autograph or to have his picture taken with a fan was unbelievable. And he did so willingly with that trademark smile. Where do you start with Rangers memories with Walter at the helm of our club? He gave the worldwide Rangers family so many highs. He gave the worldwide Rangers family so many highs, yet remained humble and courteous at all times, never losing his cool. Apart from that Chick Young interview. Yeah, indeed. Walter just seemed to have a knack of getting the very best out of his players, whether they were not yet household names or huge megastars. He had a way of gelling them into a team that fought hard for each other and refused to be beaten. Simply put, Walter Smith epitomised exactly what it meant to be the manager of Glasgow Rangers, showing class at all times and was very highly regarded across the football globe. Walter is a Rangers legend in every sense of the word and will quite rightly always be regarded as such. Hopefully at some point in the near future our club will have either a stand or perhaps Edmiston House renamed after the great man. It would be a fitting tribute and a permanent reminder of the loyal and devoted service Walter gave to our great club. My deepest condolences go out to Walter's family, and also my thanks to them for sharing their father, grandfather, husband with his beloved team, the famous Glasgow Rangers, the red, white and blue. Rest easy, Gaffer. You were and always will be simply the best. This one is just from Courtney. I don't know where Courtney is or what club she is a member of. Like the majority of Rangers fans, most of my best Rangers memories were thanks to Walter Smith. He truly shaped so many years of my childhood, and I'll forever be grateful for the memories he's left me with. Had the pleasure of attending I had the pleasure of attending an evening with Walter Smith event in Glasgow at the start of 2020, and I can hand on heart say he is the funniest and the most caring gentleman I have had the pleasure of meeting, and the memories of that night will live with me forever. Walter is and was the best of the best. There will never be another like him. I had no idea that the death of someone I hardly knew could leave me feeling numb. Walter is and was the best of the best. There will never be another like him. He was a legend in every meaning of the word, and I am utterly devastated to learn of his passing. Rest easy, Gaffer. The next one, I promise there's only a few more to go here. Jesus. Is from Lorraine Spence from the London Rangers Supporters Club, that's London, Ontario. I recall the first convention I attended in Florida with my brothers. We were honoured to sit at a table with Walter's wife and son during the Saturday banquet alongside Colin Steen and his wife. What an honour. Then a few years later, while living in Glasgow, I had the opportunity to meet him casually, as casual as you could act, around Sir Walter Smith at 29 Glasgow, where he frequented. I was in awe, no words. So many lovely memories from my parents and grandparents and brothers of the history of the man, the legend. I'm honoured. Scott Gregg from downtown Vancouver, Rangers Supporters Club. Today was a heavy heart day, reflecting on the impact Walter Smith impacted on me and driven my passion to follow. A true gent, a true blue, a true ranger. Apologies. Mine and my family's condolences go out to the Gaffer's family at this sad time. Simply the best. Eddie from Shankill Road Defenders. From myself and on behalf of the Shankill Road Defenders, we would like to pass on our deepest sympathy to Walter's family, friends and to Rangers FC. Walter will always be remembered for his time at Rangers and the time he gave for Rangers up until quite recently. Thanks for the memories, simply the best. And the last one I have here is from Colin Bowman from Orlando Rangers Supporters Club. We had some ups and downs, some terrible years, but then came Walter. He not only took us back to the top, but he created an indelible legacy, the blueprint of the Rangers' DNA. He gave us pride to match our passion, and then when we needed him again, he came back and repaired us. That 3 in a row meant so much. The charge to Manchester. He made us a joy to watch, and he passed that on to Stevie G. So glad he was able to see 55 and the continuation of what he built. He was one of the people. He was Rangers. We will never be able to thank him enough or pay a big enough tribute. This is a day we feel blue, but not in a good way. Simply the best. If I can, folks, at some point down the line, I'll try and share my journey, my own personal journey with Walter that only started literally at the end of 2019 and lasted until just before his passing. I can't obviously do it right now, as you can tell, but I promise I will try at some point in the future to say that a man left a mark on my life is obviously the understatement of a century. Until next week, folks, please do take care. Give your loved ones an extra special hug this week. God bless. Cheerio.